fade into oblivion, he bounces back in.
Yes, he does. And I think also we have to admit that it excites us. This is the politics that we yearn for. The fact that we're basically getting out of an election and talking about the next one tells you how political we are as a populace. And the fact that we can talk about the Kenyatta-Odinga Pact right now, and we said 2 weeks previously they were not seeing eye to eye, and now all of a sudden they have this agreement and they're going to work together. We've seen politicians change their tone with almost immediate effect to where they are now toeing in line with the decisions that they have decided to make. And it's quite interesting that we can't seem to come to fact that these are decisions that are done in boardrooms. Do Kenyan people actually have the right, or do they believe that they have the power to select their national leader? Have we ever? Or do we basically select from the choices that are placed in front of us after boardroom negotiations?
Right.
And so this is something that we're going to see in full effect coming to 2022. Because a lot of people are talking about there's a change coming, it's the change of dynasties. But right now what we're reading in this book is that the dynasties are here to stay. In fact,
and they're realigning.
They are realigning and placing their roots even deeper.
Bernard, yeah, one of the things that had been mentioned earlier is that with 2022, what would be unique, it was expected that would not have Raila's name and the Kenyatta name there, but it looks like that might not be the case.
Mike, Kenyans tend to forget very quickly and very fast. You remember that most of these guys who are now looking for power or who are trying to come together have at one time in history worked together and have been in the same coalition or in the same party. So it's a matter of interest. What am I getting, and what am I, what are my returns from this engagement? That's the only language they know. For us Kenyans, we look at them, and the way Nerima said, we expect that we'll have a change. But the more things change, the more they remain the same. So to me, I think it's very important that we look and examine the entire lineup and see that most of these guys have been there. Raila has been there since 1997. That's when he first contested for presidency. He has been vying all that time, apart from 2002, when we had a coalition of FONAC. That's when he supported Mwai Kibaki. But still there are questions because there were other agreements that he had made with the same Simeon Nyachae, that is going to support Simeon Nyachae. But on the sideline, he was also discussing with the Mwai Kibaki-led coalition of Mwai Kibaki, Charity Ngilu, and Michael Kijana Wamalwa. So there are really somebody who likes like rebranding himself after every election, and he comes out very strongly. So you won't be surprised, you won't be shocked. And with the agitation that we are seeing from the ODM side of this dialogue, is that there's something they know which we don't know. Because I don't expect that all of a sudden something has changed. People have been arguing so much, are now friends, and they're saying, Raila is telling them, no, we stand to benefit a lot as a party through this coalition. So what are these kind of benefits? Maybe Raila is looking for endorsement from Uhuru so that he can vie for president in 2022. That now puts Ruto in a very precarious condition, because after this negotiation, which he was not party to, then what next? Are they also playing behind his back to gain power
mileage,
or some mileage? Yesterday, I saw some of Rift Valley former MPs visiting Raila. I saw Musa Sirma and another MP and Sudi. They were at Raila's office in Capitol Hill. So what are these kind of discussions that are now going on? Because it seems these are Ruto's lieutenants. They are now paying homage to Raila Odinga.
Yeah,
I think they also want to understand the nature of the discussion that Raila had with Uhuru.
Yeah, one name that has been missing in this whole scenario so far, and we're waiting to see whether it's going to pop up, is that of Ruto. Because he was not, or maybe was not party to the two principals meeting, but that should also, in some quarters especially, worry some of his supporters, given that 2022 now may shift again depending on what this deal is. Because there seems to be a cloud of mystery that surrounds the deal, in the sense that we're not sure if Raila gave out all that was negotiated. And of course, nobody seems to have also talked to Uhuru and find out, Uhuru, what is this you guys talked about?
That's true. But for Ruto has always been a silent character in our politics, as much as he hasn't been extremely vocal. He's not a politician who's like Duale, or someone who you would know where he was and present and loud and combative. He has not been. So he's always, he is, exactly. So the fact that he's silent right now, it's typical Ruto character. He normally plans behind the scenes, and when the time is right, he will reveal what he's been working on. But he's not a person to shout about his plans while he's walking. He's not.
All right. So we'll wait and see how that goes anyway. And later on, we'll also be looking at the cabinet and Uhuru's dream team, as it were. And that's what we'll be concentrating on the state of the nation. And of course, we're welcoming your views on what you think of that.